I'd like to begin the next few lectures. This is lecture number 16, but I'd like to begin it by saying that this is a topic that will probably span several lectures. And I'm going to be taking the information from this lecture from some research that was done in early part of this century, in about the year 2000, at Yad Vashem by two researchers there. And this is a culmination of what they found in their research that year, exploring the concept or the idea of parenthood and the Holocaust. The research was conducted by Dan Baron and Julia Chaitin. And it was done in the year, it was published in Yad Vashem's Research and Search Lectures and Papers in the year of 2001. And it was a result of the research project that was conducted at Ben Gurion University and supported by the International Institute for Holocaust Research at Yad Vashem. The paper concentrates on a much deeper impact of the Nazis' acts, and one that they themselves probably did not anticipate at the time. The focus of the study was on the emotional coping abilities of Jewish families who came under Nazi attack and Nazi destruction, as well as on the ongoing long-term impairment of the emotional relationships within families of their victims who survived their persecution. Their impairment affected not only their victims, but the children and the grandchildren as well. So we have to begin our look at the concept of parenthood. Parenthood had many functions: caring for the physical, the economic, social, and physiological and psychological needs of a child until they are mature enough to take care of themselves. Today we recognize that. Types of caring were economic versus psychological, and they may differ both within and among cultures, as we all know. What happens, however, when a parent's capacity is seriously impaired due to external massive destruction, such as an event like the Holocaust? During the Holocaust, in a very sudden manner, the familiar framework of life was disrupted for these people. Hundreds of thousands of families could not continue functioning as they had before. The families were evacuated and incarcerated into ghettos and concentration camps. Many people were immediately put to death. Many were forced into harsh labor and conditions that included hunger, disease, and forced labor. How did the parents and the children survive then is the question, physically as well as emotionally. The idea for this study, therefore, came from three sources. One was a problematic interpersonal relationships found between survivors and their children that was already noted, and they wanted to investigate it further. A 9-hour interview with a child survivor, about their mother-daughter relationship during the war, and a global analysis based upon the research of Rosenthal back in 1993 of interviews from Ben Gurion University and testimonies housed at Yad Vashem that relate to the concept of parenthood. The major findings of the traditional psychological literature on parent-child relationships in families of Holocaust survivors is therefore presented here. We will then present as part of this research, or I will then present as part of the research I'm sharing with you, a new comprehensive approach that was gained from this. So as we embark on this, we're going to start off with taking a look at the psychological literature on interpersonal relationships in families and survivors. I'm going to give you an overview. We'll look at the historically contextualized psychodynamic view of the value and analysis of their testimony. We'll then take a look at some personal stories from the inside of the study by looking at some of the things expressed by some of the people interviewed, the survivors and their children as well, some of those findings. Then we'll move on to taking a look at parenthood themes in the Yad Vashem interviews and biographical interviews. Some themes, actually 4 major themes emerge from this study. We'll look at each of those themes over the next series of lectures. In addition, we'll then take a look, as we finish up our study or sharing of this study, actually, we'll take a look at the idea of parenting after the Holocaust, and how all of this that has been gained in the research has come into play in how parents have effectively or ineffectively parented their resulting offspring. We'll look at the communication patterns and their effect on the second generation, which are indeed quite impactful. We'll take a look at the transmission of aggression and or distrust of their external environment from the Holocaust to their offspring as well. And then we'll kind of bring it all to a summary at the end by bringing this all together by re-identifying the major themes and the themes that are related not only from emotional memory, but the themes that are associated with parenting after the Holocaust itself. So as you can see, the research covers quite a span of information here. Let me give you a little bit of background on the people who did the research. Julia Chaitin is currently at the University of Missouri, St. Louis, working on her postdoctorate, at least she was at the time of this study, after she completed a postdoctorate at the Adler Research Center School for Social Work in Tel Aviv University, and at the PRIME, which is the Peace Research Institute of the Middle East, which is a joint Palestinian-Israeli research center. For over a decade, she has researched some long-term psychosocial effects of the Holocaust on survivor families and Jewish, Israeli, and German young adults. Dan Baran is a professor of psychology in the Department of Behavioral Sciences at Ben-Gurion University in the Negev in Israel, where he served as chairman of the department from 1993 to 1995. Professor Baran specializes in therapy and research with families of Holocaust survivors. In 1985, he launched a pioneering field research in Germany, studying the psychological and the moral after effects of the Holocaust on children of the Nazi perpetrators. He has authored The Legacy of Silence, Encounters with Children of the Third Reich, 1989, Fear and Hope, 3 Generations of Holocaust Survivors, Families, 1995, and The Indescribable and Undiscussable in 1999. Those are some of his works. Yad Vashem published this work. The first draft of the study was done in November of 1999, but Yad Vashem finally published this work in year 2001. The work was edited by the editorial board of Yad Vashem, with the directorate of Yad Vashem, Avna Shalev, being one of the lead editors of the study. And with that, I'll bring this particular introductory lecture to a close, knowing full well that you'll be back to listen to what I think are some very, very fascinating findings in this study that have been validated in other research that I have read, and now pretty much confirmed by this other research, and confirming this other research as a trend that we have seen in Holocaust survivors, and how they pass on the legacy and the after effects of the Holocaust to their offspring, and subsequent generations after that. In closing, I hope you enjoy the next series of lectures about this particular topic. Thank you.